Peace and love, family. Welcome to another powerful discussion with your sister, Dr. Maat. Family, usually when I begin my discussions or my interviews, I start off with a hip hop song or some sort of revolutionary song, revolutionary music, right? Bob Marley or some rap or whatever. But tonight, I do want to start off with a song called Libation by Armade the Apostle. I remember back in 2020, I reached out to this brother, and shout out to Armade the Apostle. I reached out to him around the time that Dr. Patricia Newton transitioned. And I told him that I wanted him to write a song honoring our elders, right? Honoring our elders, honoring our ancestors, like a lyrical libation song. And so I told him I wanted him to mention Dr. Patricia Newton, and I named certain people that I wanted him to mention. And so he wrote the song and performed the song and found a hot beat. He sent me the beat. He said, "How do you like this?" I said, "I love the beat." And then he let me hear the lyrics. And so anyway, I'm going to play that song. And let me tell you why I'm going to play this song. Dr. Patricia Newton transitioned on 9/27, literally yesterday in 2020. And so I want to play this song. I want to pour libations to her, but this is going to be a lyrical libations. Check it out, family.
Our living ancestors. They are our direct
I want to start it from the beginning.
The elders are our living ancestors. They are our direct connection to the African spirit and way. And we distinguish between the elders and those who are simply older, because menticide has driven some of us into a treasonous arrogance. Those who are truly elders are our seasoned visionaries. They are our proven warrior servant workers. They are those who uncompromisingly speak to what needs to be done, and this is a life of revolutionary sovereignty seeking experience. They hold our vision closer to their hearts because they are us on the horizon of return.
Put your lighters up high, wave them round side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. So through us, they alive. Put your lighters up high, wave them round side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. We gon' celebrate their lives. Yo, I wonder if we seen the elders rise from the grave and they seen us today. What would they say? Envision as you see my words glide from the page. I imagine they would be so ashamed of our ways. We in the same position, maybe because we ain't listen. We like the discipline for the tunes they was spitting. Or maybe this was karma because we ain't show them honor. Word to Dr. Ben, we should have held them down stronger. Call it how I see it, maybe that was signs from Jesus. A metaphor on how we gon' treat our own leaders. They came here to teach us and we cheered from the bleachers. And when it's time to ride, we turn our backs when they need us. We pour libations when we form our own nation. I pray we wake up and see the time we was wasting. We even seen Elijah lay the blueprint for black power. Peace to the scholars like Dr. Wilson and Tony Brown. To light us up high, wave them round side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. So through us, they alive. Put the lighters up high, wave them round side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. We gon' celebrate their lives. If you can hear this, throw your fist in the air. We gon' do this for our family that's here. Yo, this is the hour of celebration for black power. To all the soldiers and scholars, giving their flowers to frontliners like Jabari and the soul vibers. They rep Tubman City, they set the bar higher. And them brothers like KT, the arts degree, they gon' carry on the legacy of Dr. Savior. Peace to risen Islam and Brother Ben. With youth like them, we can end our own suffering. Break the curse of Willie Lynch with Charles S. Finch. Professor Small, take us back to the essence. I pay homage to Carlos Muhammad and Dr. Maya, torchbearers that kept it honest. To light us up high, wave them round side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. So through us, they alive. Put the lighters up high, wave them round side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. We gon' celebrate their lives. My energy in my thoughts is like John Clark. Still on this marathon like Farrakhan. I got an army of riders taught by Elijah. It's how we start this evolution. Patricia Newton.
Yes, lyrical libations in honor of our ancestors and our elders. Special salute to Dr. Patricia Newton. She became an ancestor in the Oruan, in the Rim. We want her to continue to rest in power, rest in peace while we hold it down. Shout out to Amadei the Apostle for this beautiful lyrical libation. All right, family. So gotta honor Dr. Patricia Newton on this day. And I'm telling you, it was when she transitioned. I was hurt because I felt like I was just getting to know her. And so let me pull this up really quickly. So Dr. Patricia Newton, born in 1946, she transitioned in 2020. And so this says right here, we pour libation in honor of our dear sister, the African Center. She was an African Center psychiatrist. And what people don't know is that she was nurtured by Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. That was her teacher, right? She said she was actually going to go major in something else. And it was Dr. Frances Cress Welsing who said, no, I want you to go into neuroscience. I want you to study the brain, right? I want you to study trauma, right? So look at this. So it says right here, it says, you are here. I'm sorry. It says, honoring Dr. Patricia Newton, we pour libation for Dr. Patricia A. Newton, an African Center psychiatrist, traditionalist, elder, and our dear sister in honor of her passing and her life. Again, she transitioned on September the 27th, 2020. It says her spirit will live on eternally through her contributions to getting our people's minds right. And that's what she did. And so you see the title tonight, Should Degrees Hold Weight in Our Community? And you see that this woman was a psychiatrist. That means she was a PhD and she was an African-centered psychiatrist, and she dedicated her life to healing the minds of Black people, of African people. She even helped me, family, and I say that unapologetically. I went to that woman. She helped me get through my mother. My mother was sick at the time, and she was going to different surgeries, and I was, depressed and down because of that. And I leaned on Dr. Patricia Newton for guidance. She helped me understand my trauma. She helped me understand the impacts of sexual trauma. I mean, I'm telling you, this woman, man, I don't want to start preaching. So it says right here, philosophies from a European worldview, the fields of psychology and psychiatry do not mix. Dr. Patricia Newton stood strong as an African-centered psychiatrist who understood the importance of both psychiatry and psychology. She saw that trauma, look at this, family. I didn't even read this before. I literally just brought this up. Look at this. She saw that the trauma Black people face has both environmental and chemical origins. Most notably, Dr. Patricia Newton founded the Black Psychiatrists of America in Maryland. Through that organization, her writings, appearances, and community outreach and international collaborations, Dr. Newton redefined how we look at Black psychiatry today. I'm almost finished, family. It says organizational contributions. In 1969, she founded the Black Psychiatrists of America, BPA, to create resources for psychiatrists who recognize that European psychiatry training is inadequate to address the healing that Black people throughout the diaspora need. Wait a minute. You all say degrees don't matter. The people that have degrees, they're more Eurocentric. They come out Eurocentric. Well, this woman went in and said, well, I understand European psychiatry training, but that does not address the needs of Black people throughout the diaspora or African people throughout the diaspora. And so what did she do? It says right here, she grew that organization into an international organization. She later went on to serve as a president before becoming the CEO and medical director, serving on the Council of Elders. Beyond her role, this organization is her legacy and has grown into a hub and a resource for thought leadership in Black psychiatry. So then she also had a private practice, family. Look at this. She was also involved in African spirituality. So it says right here, as a behavioral science specialist. And I remember she used to say that. I'm a behavioral scientist. I'm a behavior scientist. So she says right here, as a behavioral science specialist, Dr. Patricia Newton founded and became the president and medical director of Newton Associates, and the president of Newton Thoth. So it says incorporated. According to her bio, her clinical psychiatry focus involved anxiety disorders with special emphasis on PTSD, depression, chronic mental illness, and transcultural psychiatry, encompassing the interface of Western and traditional African healing systems. Okay. So she was involved in, look at this, African spirituality as well. It says she paved the way by integrating African spirituality as a foundational part of Black mental health. But wait a minute, degrees don't matter, right? Since she got her degree, she's, according to some of you all in this so-called conscious community or enlightened community or African-centered community, you think that people who have PhDs or doctorates, you believe that we come out, that training causes us to think more as Europeans. But look at what this woman did. She integrated African spirituality in her therapy sessions, right? In her address. Look at this. It says integrating African spirituality as a foundational part of Black mental health. But I thought she was going to be Eurocentric anyway. It says she was installed as both Queen Mother and Female King, divisional chief in Ghana, West Africa, where she received the traditional name Nana, Dr. Nkusia Akaya. It says her positions were not honorary titles. They were actual positions with full rights and entitlements that made her an Ashanti royal. She pioneered work with traditional healers domestically in the U.S. and internationally in Africa, South America, and Brazil. Shout out to Brazil. I'll be going there in February. It says in her work internationally, she engaged psychiatrists and other wellness professionals in Africa, South America, and the Caribbean. Throughout those interactions, she pioneered techniques for the chronic mentally ill. She also developed culturally competency mental health standards for professionals to help HIV and AIDS. This is it, family. So we talk about her education and accolades. So she received her undergraduate degree from the University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff. She received 2 master's degrees, her master's degree in molecular biology from George Peabody College and Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. She earned her master's degree in public health at Johns Hopkins School of Public Health and Hygiene in Baltimore, Maryland. Wait a minute, she had degrees. And she was African-centered to the core. So there goes your theory about people who have PhDs and doctorates being more Eurocentric because they went to the highest or achieved the highest educational level possible. There goes your theory. There goes that goes out the window. So it says right here, also, according to her bio, she served on the academic faculty for over 16 years at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine while becoming the first female chairperson of the Department of Psychiatry at Baltimore's Providence Hospital. Dr. Newton attended medical school at the Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis, Missouri, and her psychiatry training there as well. Additionally, she was one of the first American Psychiatric Association, APAs, right, fellows as psychiatric resident that permitted her to attend the inaugural meeting of the BPA's Transcultural Psychiatry Conference in IAT in 1979. Awards and recognitions. Impressively, Dr. Newton has won many awards and citations, including Essence Magazine, Woman of the Year in Health and Medicine, Baltimore Magazine's 100 Most Influential Women in Baltimore, and Towson State University's Distinguished Black Marylanders. Moreover, her innovation include culturally competent holistic treatment and chemical dependency and prevention, having her work embraced internationally in Africa, the Caribbean, and Great Britain with a community-based clinic named in her honor there. All the way in Great Britain, family. This woman was African-centered to the core, just like Dr. Maat, just like Dr. Dennis Ausar Winkler. There goes your theory. So anyway, family, it says right here, Dr. Cambon It says Mawaya or Mawia. Kanban Black Therapy Central co-founder worked closely with Dr. Newton over decades through various collaborations, organizational interactions, and overlapping speaking engagement. Dr. Kanban will be doing a special tribute to her on an upcoming episode of the Black Therapy Central show. So anyway, family, we want to just just right now, put an ashe in the chat for Dr. Patricia Newton. Drop a ashe in the chat for Dr. Patricia Newton. Family, we just want to ask her to continue to rest in power. We already know the ancestors were pleased with her work. It's not a doubt in my mind after reading this tribute and reading her bio, but we pray that the ancestors were pleased with her work. And we already know that her heart was as light as the feather of Ma'at. All right, so drop a ashe in the chat right now for Dr. Patricia Newton. All right, family. So I actually have her on my ancestor shrine in my home. She's one of my honored ancestors on my actual shrine, family. And I tell you no lie. Dr. Newton's there. Dr. Amos Wilson is there. Who else do I have on there as my honored ancestors? I have Booker T. Washington on there. I'm thinking about who else I have. It's about 8 honored ancestors. I got Harriet Tubman on there. I have Ida B. Wells on there. So these are my honored ancestors, and then I have ancestors in my bloodline. So anyway, family, without further ado, I'm going to bring on my brother, my peer, my colleague, and my friend, Dr. Dennis Ausar Winkler. Peace and love to you, Doctor. How are you doing tonight, Doc? Oh, I don't hear you, Doc. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Peace, family, peace, Hotep, Maat Hotep, Imani Nine Guvu, peace and power. Thanks for having me on. Greetings to the family.
Greetings. And nice to have you on, Doc. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule because you are a very, very busy man. And I kind of hit you up like a day before yesterday, like, Doc, could you come on the platform on Thursday? And you said, let me check. I get back to you. Let me check. And you definitely check, Doc. And I do appreciate that. And so thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be with us tonight. So, Doc,
always an honor. Always an honor.
absolutely. And so, Doc, you see the title, should degrees hold weight in our community? And I just want to give the family, the viewers, and I always call them the family, even though people say the viewers, but I look at them as the Ma'adian family, right? And so I just want to give them some background information regarding how this discussion came about. So firstly, Dr. Ausar, this was maybe around the time, and peace to Brother Jabari, and peace be upon the soul of Mama Ma'at. It was around that time that Mama Ma'at transitioned, and this was probably last year, fallish sometimes, or was it the beginning of this year? But I know it was maybe, I want to say the beginning of this year or late last year when she transitioned. And I was at the Temple of New African Thought, and I remember you came outside, you walked me to my car, and you came outside and you were like, look, we really need to have a discussion about what it takes to earn, a degree. And specifically, you were talking about like PhDs and doctorates in our community. You said a lot of our people don't understand the process, right? The process, nor do they understand the value, right, of that process, right? And so you were saying, I think it would be a good idea that we had that conversation. And I was like, cool, Doc, we'll do it, da-da-da-da-da. And then, life be lifing. Life started happening. Life started happening. And so we never had the conversation. Fast forward, family. There was a sister, and shout out to the sister, Jennifer. Shout out to the sister Jennifer Huggins. She put up a post on Instagram, and I can actually show you all the posts, family. Show you all the posts, and I can show you the posts, so you don't think Dr. Maat is just making this up. And so she put up a post, and again, I don't want y'all to take this as a shot. I'm just trying to give you all some context. There's no shot at that sister. Okay, beautiful sister, beautiful sister, cool with the sister. Okay, so she put up a post, and the post said, a PhD doesn't make a person smarter. It makes them more specialized at their plantation of choice. Now, that first part, I agreed with. I was like, just because you have a PhD, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're smarter than the next person. I agree with that. I met some folks who had credentials, Dr. Ausar, and I'm pretty sure you had too. You met some too, and they weren't that bright. You know, it was like, okay, you went through the process, and I don't know how you got through it, but okay, you got through it, and you got your degree. You know what I mean? So I agree with that part. But then she said it makes them more specialized at their plantation of choice. I disagree with that. And we clearly can see after reading Dr. Patricia Newton's profile that that wasn't the case, right? That was a woman who had 2 master's degrees and a PhD, and you saw what she did. She went and she said, look, European psychiatry does not address the needs of, African people, right? And so she went and she studied it from an African centered perspective and started implementing, right, African spirituality, integrating African spirituality into her treatments. So I don't think that she became more specialized and in her plantation of choice, right? For me, what I've been doing is teaching STEM from an African centered perspective. And so integrating, African centered education within STEM, right? And so I don't think that made me more specialized, in a plantation of choice. What about you, Dr. Ausar? Do you feel like your degree, Doc, are you there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm here.
yeah.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. Do you feel like you getting a PhD made you more specialized in your plantation of choice?
I guess it depends on what one is called a plantation, right? But I would say absolutely not, and I don't think. And I have research to as a PhD. I've done research to gain my PhD that actually debunks that. In fact, my research supports the opposite. I can even show it to you if you wanted to. But nonetheless, the data.
Absolutely. I do want to see after we talk about this. I want you to show
Yeah,
it. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So it doesn't even equate with what the data's stating. And yeah, I think that this conversation is complex.
Mhm.
I think it's we conflate things, and I also would argue and suggest that many times we don't understand how statistics work, so we kind of we point out people who have PhDs or MDs or whatever you got, and we think that somehow that they're causing issues in the community greater than the normal population, and so we're not just that's not a reality. In fact, my data doesn't even support that, and other data doesn't support that. In fact, it supports something different and the opposite.
Absolutely. And I can't wait for you to show it because Dr. Craig Samuels, he said receipts are always welcome. So he's going to show it, Doc. He's going to show it. So then she goes on to say, this can have both favorable and unfavorable implications for those who follow certain figures in search of a fresh direction. Hmm. How do you feel about that, Doc? I'll let you take that and then
This can
I'll chime in. Mhm.
So let me just look at this again. So the plantation of choice, this can have both favorable and unfavorable implications for those who follow certain figures in search of a fresh direction. Now, I think I don't really, I think it's ambiguous, one, but
Yeah, it is.
two, I would say yes. I don't know what she means, but definitely I do believe there's pimps in all communities. I
Oh,
think there's
absolutely.
pimps with PhDs and MDs and ADDs, and I say DVDs and CD degrees. Because back in the day when we used to get, the conscious community, everybody, we didn't have a PhD or this or that. We at least had a DVD and a CD degree. And what I'm saying is there's pimps in all communities again, but I'm not suggesting, I'm saying it's not greater than what you find in the normal population. So again, I think is a fallacious framework that she's speaking from, my dear sister.
Absolutely. In Hotspot Casino, you said, didn't Amos Wilson point out that it's going to be the ones with PhDs that's going to destroy the earth? Dr. Amos Wilson had a PhD. I
Well, he
believe he had,
did.
yeah, I believe he had a PhD.
Well,
So I,
what he did, and he did say that, and he did. What he's saying is those with PhDs are the ones who are that are creating things, but that doesn't mean that you don't go and get a PhD as a black person to counter attack or counter another PhD who has those types of intent. We wouldn't even know what to do if we don't even understand what's going on and what the propensity is, such as dr.maat into engineering and knowing all of those different things. She had a whole show on another platform about that. and she spoke about this whole idea around these 5G and all this stuff, and she debunked it. But the thing is, people can manipulate us if we don't have our own true professionals. And Dr.
Come on.
Maya and her colleague actually did an awesome job of really breaking down the information and so that we will not be controlled by misinformation.
Come on. Thank you so much. And I appreciate that, Doc. I didn't know that you watched that show. Yeah, I didn't know that you watched it, but thank you. Thank you so much. But Dr. Amos Wilson had a PhD, and look what he turned around and did. He wrote Blueprint for Black Power. He wrote, developmental psychology of the Black child. He brought us the falsification of African consciousness. And look at the level, though, that he brought us. It wasn't no rinky dink. You get what I'm saying, Doc? It wasn't no rinky dink literature. Look at the level, look at the quality of work that he brought forth. So then it says right here, academic credentials are only milestones of the Eurocentric educational system, not proof of applied intelligence. What are your thoughts right there, Doc?
I think I have mixed feelings about that because I think you can see it depends. Again, even going back to smarter, even going back to smarter, going to this word intelligence, conflating the two of them. And in fact, people have different definitions and they extrapolate the difference between intelligence and smartness. And they have various definitions of intelligence. I think this sister on the post, she mentioned that her definition was in alignment with Dr. Amos Wilson. I think it was about bringing about something, bringing about change or what have you. But I think I partly agree with that, just depending on one's idea of what intelligence is. But milestones of your let me read it again though. Academic credentials are only milestones. No, only that's debunked. That is no, not it's only.
It's not only right.
I totally disagree. I think that just messes the whole argument up.
Yeah,
Milestones
that
of
only
the
part.
Eurocentric educational system, not proof of applied intelligence. I'll argue for and against. I think that you do have to have a certain level of intelligence, depending on your definition, to complete a degree. I just do. Now
Yeah,
is it?
I second that. I second what you're saying. We're not saying you're a genius.
Yes.
But I'm with you. You have to have a certain level, right, to do it. You also have to have discipline, determination, and all that good stuff. But I do believe a certain level. We're not saying it got to be this family, but it got to be something, right, for you to get through that process, right? You gotta be able to apply something, right? Because you take exams, you take qualifying exams, and all. You got to be able to do something. And we know that the lowest level of thinking or intelligence is remembering things. So even if it's that, you did do that at least to get through. So I mean, so I'm with you, Doc. At least some level of intelligence to get through. So she says not a proof of applied intelligence. I could argue against that because you did have to apply it. I mean, I'm thinking about qualifying exams. I'm sitting here thinking about when I got my DEng that I had to create something new. And so I had to create something new. I didn't go and take something that already existed, right, and improve it, even though people get their dissertations based on that all the time. They'll take something that already exists, they'll add to it, right, or enhance it in some type of way, improve it in some type of way. But what I did for my dissertation, I created an entirely new algorithm, right, Gaussian for Gaussian mixture model. So I had to apply, intelligence in order to create something new. I had to apply intelligence, Dr. Ausar, to sit down there and create an algorithm that is now, being used, in higher levels of the government for language recognition, right? I had to, so that took applied, that is proof of applied intelligence. I had to, hold on, let me grab this, Doc. Hold on. Hold on. Let me move back. Let me show you this, Doc. Probably should have had it ready. I think I showed you this before, Doc. I had to apply some intelligence, Doc, in order to write this dissertation right here, right? In order to write this dissertation, I mean, it had to be a level of, this is applied intelligence, right? To sit down and write this dissertation, right? And I don't know, family, if you can see it. Oops, that's blank pages right there. but I don't know if you all can see the dissertation, but it's here. It's actually on ProQuest Family if you want to see a copy of Dr. Maat's dissertation. But the point of me showing you these things is not to flex. It's just to show you that in order to get this degree, I did have to apply intelligence. It wasn't just handed to me like, here you go, right? I had to go through, I had to take 60 credits, 60 class credits. And then I had to go through what's called an A exam and a B exam, right? So your A exam is where you go and you go in front of your committee and you stand there and you say, this is what I'm going to propose to do. And you write your proposal. My proposal was about 45 pages. So I wrote my proposal. And then your dissertation is when you actually do the research. You go out there, you do the research, you analyze your results, you write about your results, and then you go and you defend your research to your committee, right? So that is proof of applied intelligence, if you ask me. What are your thoughts, Doc?
Yeah, I again, this is a very ambiguous post, and that's my greatest contention with it. Because what it does is I think it begins to corrupt people's minds around education. And just to back up just a little bit, we need educated folk, quote unquote. We need engineers. We need therapists. We need pediatricians. We need all these people. You know what I'm trying to say? We need lawyers. We need all types of people that require a degree. Now, I get it. Now, if you say that we can do this and start on our own somewhere and still do something in our own system, but we're in this system. And this is where we are.
Teach.
And I don't think most of us are going anywhere. So I think we disserve ourselves. And even talked to a good brother, Jabbar. I won't share everything that he shared with me, but he was really, really upset. And when a family member was in need of care and some type of care, and there was no one to look like him or us there to assist.
That's right.
And that is a very struggling situation when you go into these fields and when reality kicks in, all your conscious illusions just go out the door. Because when someone's sick, when someone's facing some type of legal situation, when somebody's facing mental crises, when somebody's facing all these things, and you want to realize why Dr. Ausar can't take another client is because of this type of message.
Come on.
You understand why brothers can't find medical doctors or whatever, because of this type of ideology, which is you just cast it out there and discourage people from a higher level of educational attainment to actually serve our community. I'm sorry. Can you hear that?
No, I'm with you. No, I don't hear anything, Doc. Keep on going. I'm listening,
Okay.
but you're 1,000% correct.
So and I think so. I was backing up and going back to this applied intelligence piece. I don't really understand what that means. So again, and that's the piece about when you really understand when you go up the Bloom's taxonomy that you were speaking about earlier.
Yes.
As far as knowledge just being the lowest base of it and going all the way up to applied and creating new things and all that type of thing, we understand that this is not a real good written piece, and it can be dangerous because it leads people to interpret it in a way. I don't know what the I don't know what the point here is, but what I do know is I don't understand what applied intelligence means here. What do you mean by applied intelligence? Now, if you're saying applied intelligence means that I go to school and I become educated, now I can be a professional. I can be an applied professional. Like, for example, some people go to master's programs and they in psychology, but it might not be an applied program. It might just be more of a theoretical program where there's no license or anything like that that comes with it. That become more like an applied field, applied psychology or counseling or engineering is applied field. Social work is an applied field. Medicine is an applied field. At certain levels, they may not, but it's a variation of things. But even more, when you talk about a PhD, it is an applied thing. All PhDs are applied.
Facts.
Every last one of them, because you are a scientist of sorts, a researcher of sort, and you are figuring out solutions or you're figuring out problems or you're looking for some type of phenomenon to kind of assist in and aid in and things of that nature. So it's applied. You can take the skills that you learn and utilize them in different research experiments and all these type of things. You would not have statistics. We read statistics every day and we go by
Come
them.
on.
If you
Come
didn't
on.
have someone to really understand statistics or understand social science, so we're reading this stuff. So who do you want to put it out there for you?
Come on, Doc.
Yeah,
Come on, Doc.
I
And
mean,
so Crip, no,
mhm.
no, no. I'm with you. I'm with you 1,000%. Crip verse CBDC said it takes intelligence to come from absolutely nothing and have no education and navigate the streets and stay alive and influence the downtrodden and educated like George Jackson, Baba Imhotep, Andrew Muhammad, and other self-educated folks. I don't knock people like that. I don't knock that at all. I actually agree with your statement that it does take, intelligence to do that. But that's not what we're talking about tonight. Like no
And it's
one
not
is
the
knocking
only.
that type. Yeah, that's not the only thank you. That's not the only type of intelligence, right? That
But we
I
want that
never
to be
get.
the only. We
Yeah,
somewhere. See, that's the problem, and we lift that over that type of intelligence. Where first and foremost, let me be clear that I've had that type of intelligence for most of my life.
come
I
on, teach,
coming
teach,
going go,
teach, teach.
I went back to school after being more entrenched in the conscious community and say, you know what, I can do more if I go back and get education. So I've had that type of intelligence, but nothing's wrong with that intelligence. I built many things off of that. Many businesses built, did much community work. But
Right.
again, there's also benefit, just like many of our scholars, they went back.
Come on, you better teach.
You understand? So they went back so that they can further support. You understand? So we need people. I understand I had limited resources out there in the streets helping my people who were dealing with trauma, and I was so-called an African-centered minister and not knowing what to do with these things. But going back to school, understanding trauma, doing the research, and also applying it, having to apply it because you have to do in many educational programs, you do have to do some level of internship, practicums, clinicals, or whatever it is. Different fields have different things, but especially speaking to like mental health, medicine, and all these type of things, engineering is already built in. You have to do something in medicine, social work, mental health fields. You have to literally apply this information inside clinical sessions and to be observed by your peers and also your teachers and professors and all these people to observe and say, to your efficaciousness. And
Hmm.
if you're
Hmm.
not cutting the mustard, you won't cut the mustard. But you
No,
do have to
absolutely.
show this. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, 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 absolutely. Shout out to Baba Amin of the Uhuru Academy. Shout out to Uhuru Academy family. You know that every show that I promote the Uhuru Academy, and I always tell you get out of the food system, get your kids out of the public food system, and get them into our system. So shout out to Baba Amin and Mama and Koyo. So Baba Amin says, I don't think degrees are meant to be measurements of intelligence,
Mhm.
but confirmation of expertise. They are needed, and having one doesn't make one Eurocentric. What are your thoughts, Doc?
I agree with that. I don't think
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
I don't even think SATs or intelligent tests do a good job of it either, right?
Yeah,
And
same here. Yeah,
and
yeah.
even there's research, plenty of research around it that these SATs do not necessarily predict someone's success in achieving uh, being successful in college and so on and so
Doc,
forth.
Doc, I had a horrible SAT score. I barely got 1,000 on my SAT score. Right.
Yeah.
So somebody would have looked at me and said, oh, she ain't gonna make it. You know what I mean? Like I was tired. I remember I took the SATs at Poly. And
Mhm.
so at Poly, and remember they kept you in the room it felt all day. It felt like I was there for hours.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
maybe like after an hour, Doc, I just
Mhm.
like the hell with it, man. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I was one of them people, I just started bubbling anything. I just wanted to get out of the test. I wasn't really thinking it through. And when I got my scores, it looked like I didn't think it through. Like I barely got a 1,000. So according to that score, someone would have said she's not going to make engineering, and then a doctor of engineering. Looking at
Mhm.
that score, someone would have said, nah, she's not intelligent enough to do that. And so I
Mhm. Mhm.
agree. I'm with you. Those SAT scores and what's the other one? GRE scores or something like that. Not
Yeah,
GD, but
GRA,
GRE scores,
yeah,
your SAT scores, and all of that stuff.
and
I
GMATs and
agree.
all that.
Yeah, I agree. They aren't, measurements of intelligence. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think, because like I said, and I'm with Baba. I mean, I've met some people who had degrees and they weren't bright to me. They just weren't smart people, but they had a degree. So I don't think they're measurements of intelligence. But I agree with Baba that it does confirm that you are an expert in something, right? They are needed. And it doesn't make you Eurocentric, but people have that idea that just because you have a degree that you're Eurocentric in your thinking,
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that there aren't people who have PhDs and doctor degrees who aren't Eurocentric in their thinking. You do have some, but don't put us all in the same damn box. That's what I'm saying. So at the end, Doc, it says right here, judge competence by demonstration, not degrees.
mm.
What are your thoughts on the last line, Doc?
Again, I think that's dangerous because honestly, I have to be honest. I don't think we. How do we judge it? Like how do we judge competence? I'm not saying that degrees necessarily mean that you're competent, but see, the problem I have is that we send people to homegirl or homeboy around the corner who just I don't want to step on nobody's toes, but went to a weekend course that went to a weekend herbal course, and now they've become the expert, and now you're dealing with them in cancer. And I've seen too many people die because of that.
Come on, that's true. That is
Because
true.
because someone gave them some sugar pills, and I literally called them sugar pills,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and versus going to finding a black physician that they could trust, because black people don't just go to school and lose their minds all that. That's not most people. They're just not losing their minds most of the time, and now they're let's say robots of the system. Now they are, as Dr. Mayat just said, there is some of that there. But again, I will argue and I maintain that it's not any different than what you find in the population, the normal distribution of the population. But I will also say again that you do find that that the more educated a person had, the more education. This may sound interesting. The more education, the less assimilation is attitudes that they have.
Mm.
But we're not talking about people. And I say when you look at it like this. How many people are talking about people who have just what we call general average levels of education or employment or what have you? And how many people are really? Why are we spending so much time on people who are less than 1% of the population when there's
Teach.
way more people out here that are just doing what we do? Like I used to install cable, right? I used to install direct TV. I used to have a direct TV business, but most of the people around me, and they're just not really into anything as far as African Senate. Some of them saying, I don't care about them NIGGERs. So what I'm saying is that they are more likely to assimilate than one with an education or have those
Facts.
views in it.
Facts. Facts, facts, facts. And Baba just said this. He said, our issue today is the assimilate or integration agenda that most of us was raised on, that teaches us that a degree is just a ticket to get a good job in white society. He said, you two are examples of the true value. You see what I'm saying? Like, you see where he's coming from, Doc?
Oh no,
It's on the
I'm sorry.
screen.
Okay, I was reading
No,
this other
look
one. I'm
at.
sorry.
No. Don't pay attention. I see some people. It's always haters and jealous folks in the chat. It's always the ones that never.
Oh, okay, down here. Okay, okay.
Yeah. Read that. Read Baba's comment.
Our
Don't
issue
focus on.
today is
Yes,
the assimilate integration agenda that most of us was raised on, that teaches us that the degree is just a ticket to get a job in white society. You two are examples of true value. I agree with that, and that's why I'm
that's what I'm.
saying we.
That's
But people have the idea, but I want to again say that when we do research, we understand that even more education does not equate to more assimilation. In fact, it shows the other.
and you said it's data that substantiates
Yeah,
that.
it's that to substantiate that. And I'm talking about attitudes, because most people are trying to, it doesn't matter what level of education you is. Most of us are just trying to get by. Most of us don't really want to understand all this black stuff. Most of us don't. But when you go to school, you might come across a black studies program. You might have a black professor that held you accountable. You might have had somebody say, look, this is, even the reality is the social sciences, uh, the they really major parts of social science programs is really critiquing the American Western white supremacist system.
Teach.
Believe it or not,
Teach.
I went to school and I'm
Teach.
like, now I'm not saying that they willing to do anything. I'm not saying that the white people who teach these things are going to put their lives on the line. Maybe some will, but what I'm saying is that you learn these things as a black person, it might hit you more, it might hit you different, because these things are broken down the more education you receive, even
Teach.
at white institutions.
Teach. And see, you know what? You know what I honestly think, Doc, and let me take this off the screen because we already broke that down. I think that a lot of our people aren't in these spaces, and
Mm-hmm.
so they don't understand. Like, you were in the space, and so what's
Mm-hmm.
being taught, what's being put out there.
Mm-hmm.
So you have our people who are not in these spaces, and so all of they doing is filling in the gaps. I think this is what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think, or I believe, you were actually in the space, you went through the process, and so you can tell us, you can speak to that. But you have a lot of people, and it's no diss. I'm not throwing a shot. I'm just simply saying that you have people who never gone through the process, never been in those spaces, but they're giving their opinions about what happens in those spaces, right? They're giving their opinions about the process. Well, how the hell are you going to tell me about a process that you never went? That's like me sitting here having that's like a man sitting here having a conversation. Man, this is what happens during childbirth, and this is the process. And I'm not saying that a man can't read a book and educate himself on the process, but it's nothing like speaking with a sister who have gone through it. She knows the process, she experienced it, right? Versus somebody looking on the outside saying this is what it should be. You understand what I'm saying, Doc? A lot of times we have these uninformed opinions, and then we spew that out into the world, out into social media, as if it's facts. You talking about a process, you never been through that process. You talking about a space, you never been in that space. So why the hell am I going to listen to you any goddamn way? And
But
shout out to sister, you know how I get, Doc. Shout out to Sister Rashamella. She said we created the goddamn PhD. We created educational institutions. Professor James Small just came on Friday, and he broke that down. He said the temples were our educational institutions. He said,
mm-hmm.
Dr. Maat, you would have been considered a priestess.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Mm-hmm.
that's what you would have been. You
Mm-hmm.
study
Mm-hmm.
science, engineering, math, you produce. He said you would have been one of the high priestess if we were in Kemet. Those were the priests. The priests weren't the people seeing him. It wasn't that. The priests were the educated people, right? They were the scientists, the engineers. They were that. We created that. We
Mm-hmm.
created educational institutions.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, Doc, what were you getting ready to say?
My problem is, see, my worry and concern is this: that we have to, we don't understand trauma, right? And I have compassion for for us who struggle with, and we have these fears of those of us with intelligence. I mean, I'm sorry, with degrees or what have you. I understand to a degree. To a degree, that you feel like that when you went into this institution and you were taught to be white, so now I can't trust you. But and again, that is not the case in most cases. But I also will say this: my major struggle is, if I can say a name or two, is that okay
Oh,
with
wait,
you?
I'm with you. I'm with you,
My,
Doc. I'm
my,
right here
my
rocking
major
with you.
problem is when the alternative is Brother Polite.
Come on, you better
My
teach.
major problem
You
is,
better
I
teach.
don't want to say some other names, because when with all these other brothers that you see on these platforms who are pushing a certain level of consciousness today with gold chains and these keys and that and so on and so forth, that are really robbing our people with a a pseudoscientific level of education that is not going to get us anywhere. Only place is going to the only people is going to do something for us, get them extra thrill, extra meal,
Come
or, or
on.
or even in jail
Come
after you
on.
figure out that they're charlatans.
Come on.
And so the alternative are these people who that you see out here, like Polite. You see out here like Pharaoh. When you see out here like
Teach.
people,
Teach.
I'm even like I'm not. I'm gonna stop with the names, but But what I'm saying is these alternatives. Going back to your question,
Come
these are
on.
not adequate, and that's why you say. And people think that they're doing something because they know how to put smoke screen and mirrors out there, and we judge those as applied
That's right.
intelligence
Yep. Yep.
versus somebody who actually went through the academic rigor and had to really humble themselves through a process. And let's break this down. It's a lot of people who are in these institutions and things that are fighting for us every day. It's not easy to be in these academic halls,
You better teach.
whether it's black schools, white schools, whatever it is, because black people are fighting for you. I'm telling you, black PhDs, uh, people with master's degrees, people with no goddamn degree
Come on. Come
are
on.
fighting for us every day in the academic halls, and just as much as people fighting out here on these streets. And it's a shame that places like ASCAC, the Association of what is it?
I know you're
ASCAC
talking
and
about
other
association. Ah, yeah, I know you're talking.
uh,
I'm looking right. Yeah, 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 yeah. I know you're talking about.
I
Mm.
can't.
ASCAC, the associate. Come on, drop it in the chat for me, Baba. I mean, or Dr. Samuels. Drop that ASCAC. What is the acronym for ASCAC? Drop
uh,
that in the chat. Dr. Craig Samuels and Baba. I mean, I know what you're talking about,
classical
though.
Association of Classical African Civilization or something like that, right? So it's plenty of brilliant people doing brilliant things that are working daily to aid our people. People like Bob, Dr. Kittles, and all these people who have great research. People out here, I'm going to throw dr.maat out here doing great work. I'm not saying it because I'm on her platform. She and I
Dr.
talk about this.
Asar. Look, Dr. Asar, what you talking about?
Absolutely. But Doctor, so all these great people out here is doing things that are being, I, I'm not even saying outshine, but the alternative is going to get us nowhere. They're going to take money out your pocket
Come
and
on.
leave you hurt and not being able to trust people who can really help and aid in our development and advancement and liberation as African people. And I also want to say this because I've had this and I looked up now research that, you know, and people might not believe this. I'm going to say the most people who fought in these revolutions, I'm talking about from slave plantations and all around, were higher in levels of education. People who actually strategized were higher in
You better
education. I'm not
teach.
saying they had PhDs.
You
I'm
better
just saying they
teach.
were the ones with high education. Let me give you an example, like Nat Turner. You know, he was one
Mhm.
of the educated few on the plantation. People like Gabriel Prosser. People
Teach.
like even in Toussaint Overture, and all these
Teach.
people were more advanced and educated. Not to say they were the smartest, the most intelligent, because intelligence is something you kind of, if you look at it from a psychological perspective, it's something that's kind of like you kind of, it's just what you have in a sense and how to kind of analyze and do all these type of things. So I do think there's a correlation or to some degree with a level of intelligence because you have to synthesize information, and that's a very complex process.
Come on. Look at Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu. He has a
Hmm.
PhD,
Hmm.
right? Look at Dr. Huey P. Newton. He went on to get a PhD. Dr. Malana Karenga. I mean, look at these people. I mean, you get what I'm saying, Doc? Like, look at these people. And I believe that Kwame Ture, didn't he go? I mean, he finished, right? Because he was in college during that time. And I believe he did finish. Can you tell me, Doc, he did finish?
I I can't remember.
Because I know he was involved in college
Mhm.
during that particular time.
Yeah, I
I'm
do
not sure
know.
if he finished.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he finished, but I do agree with you 1,000% that if you do look at these movements and the people that were involved, especially in the leadership, these were people, Dr. Martin Luther King. These were people who were educated folks. So, and speaking of educated folks, right? You told me or you shared with me when I was at the Temple of New African Thought. Shout out to Baba Asar family. You know that I'm doing kickboxing with Baba Asar, and Baba is getting me right. My body's a little sore, even though he claimed that he took it light on me yesterday. My body's a little sore, but shout out to Baba Asar. And so, family, if you are interested in kickboxing, what else does he does? He does what else does he do?
Tai
Tai
Chi,
Chi,
meditation,
meditation.
bow staff training like stick fighting,
Yes, he does that. Yes.
mixed martial arts, yeah,
And I'm
qigong, all
and
types
I'm
of things.
and I'm telling you, if I lived on that side of town, I would be with him like every day. Because
Hmm.
I want to just soak up. He's a wealth of knowledge. And I would just want to soak up everything that he knows. It probably be impossible, but I want to soak up everything that he knows. So, family, if you are interested in those things, please reach out to Baba Ausar. He is on TikTok. He has a TikTok page. He's on Facebook, family, or you can just call the Temple of New African Thought right in Baltimore, Maryland. Call the number, family, and say, look, I'm trying to get at Baba Ausar. Family, right now, take a moment out to thumb up this video right now. Thumb up this video. We're getting ready to talk about Dick Gregory, right? There was a clip that Dr. Ausar sent me about Dick Gregory talking about education. And he expressed to me yesterday that when people want to go against education, they'll prop up with what Baba Dick Gregory said, and peace be upon his soul. So we're going to play a clip of what what Baba Dick Gregory said. But before we do, family, take a moment out right now. Thumb up this video, thumb it up, thumb it up, thumb it up. Also, family, share this discussion. You hear Dr. Ausar and Dr. Maat, we going in right now. We're talking about should degrees hold weight in our community, right? Should degrees hold weight in our community? Okay. And so, family, again, share this discussion. So on your social media platforms, go to Facebook, post a link. On Twitter, tweet the link. If you're on Instagram, throw the link in your story. Have folks join it. Also, copy the link, family, and throw it in your family group chat or your friends group chat and say, come on over here and check out this powerful discussion. Let's get about 40 more people, family, in this virtual. We hear you, Doc. I hear you on it. We get 40 more people in this virtual space. We want 40 more people, family, in this virtual space. So now I'm going to bring up Baba Dick Gregory, and peace be upon his soul. I had the I don't know if I shared my audio. I had the honor of meeting him. I actually met Baba twice. Brother Jabari brought him to Baltimore, and I had the honor of meeting him twice and taking a nice picture with him. And towards the end, before he transitioned, he was very bitter, though. He was upset. He was like, Black people, they just not listening. He was frustrated. Yeah, they just don't listen, and going off. But anyway, this was the clip that Dr. Ausar sent me. So let's listen to what Baba Dick Gregory had to say about education. All right. And hold up. Before I do, Baba Amin said that is the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilizations. So ASCAP family stands for the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilizations. Thank you so much, Baba. All right. So here's Baba Dick Gregory. Here we go, family.
We so messed up. Never before have there been anyone that went through what we went through, slavery, discrimination, the whole thing, and then we opt for education over liberation. Now, y'all play with that if you want. Liberation is close to the universal God. Education, any fool can put that book together. Y'all can sit there with all your PhDs. Oh, George Washington didn't beat up the damn British for the right to build a college. They was getting liberated. Then once you liberate, you build the college to what you like it to be, not what some white folks that's sending the money want it to be. And now it's catching up with you. Now it's catching up with you. The reason we so messed up, never before have there been anyone that went through what we went through, slavery, discrimination, the whole thing, and then we opt for education over liberation. Now, y'all play with that if you want. Liberation is close to the universal God. Education, any fool can put that book together. Y'all can sit there with all your PhDs. Oh, George Washington didn't beat up the damn British for the right to build a college. They was getting liberated. Then once you liberate, you build the college to what you like it to be, not what some white folks that's sending the money want it to be. And now it's catching up with you. Now it's catching up with you.
Okay. So Doc, you were telling me that when people go in on education, and it's what you said to me yesterday. You said when people go in on education, I see you, I hear you. All I was unmuting because when you go like this, we hear it like that's what it sounds like. So I got you, Doc. All I gotta do is just unmute. Yeah, you good. We hear you. You good to go. I just didn't want it sounds like this when you hit your earphones. It sounds like this, and now it sounds like that. And so I was trying to avoid that from happening. So I just went ahead and muted you. But you're back now, Doc, and you were expressing to me that when people, well, PhDs don't matter, education don't matter. They prop up Doctor, well, not Doctor, but Baba did Gregory, and in that particular clip, when you said that to me, and you showed me the clip earlier, I said to you even before seeing the clip, I said he's not talking about education, he's talking about miseducation, right? Like that's not education that he's talking about, right? What he's talking about on that video is miseducation. And family, if you go to the Uhuru Academy site, right, you see right here with Malcolm X. So see, we could play games, but you see where Malcolm X says education is our passport to the future, right? So I just showed you a clip of Baba D. Gregory saying, education, all your PhDs, and then we could prop up another ancestor that said education is our passport to the future. So I think that Baba D. Gregory, and peace be upon his soul, and I'm not trying to speak for the elder or the ancestor, but I do believe that he was not describing education. He was describing miseducation or indoctrination, right? Because clearly, right here, Malik El Shabazz said education is our passport to the future. If you look at the Uhuru Academy, what do they say? Liberation through African-centered education, right? Education. So, again, when I watched that clip, and family, I'm going to drop the link to the Uhuru Academy in the chat. Please, family, make sure that you get your babies in the Uhuru Academy. Look at this. ASAP, family. ASAP, ASAP, ASAP. Get your babies in the Uhuru Academy. I was just bragging about the Uhuru Academy today at a wedding rehearsal. I'm officiating a wedding on Sunday. And I was talking to them about the Uhuru Academy. So I'm going to drop the link for that for the school in the chat. Make sure that you sign your child up. Email Baba and say, Baba, I was listening to Dr. Maat. She told me to give you a holler. So anyway, Doc, what are your thoughts on that? When you watched the Dick Gregory clip and you saw it before me because you sent it to me, so you aware of it. What were your thoughts? Do you think Baba was talking about the education we're talking about? What do you think he was actually saying in that clip?
I think you broke it down really well. When you say he's speaking about miseducation, right? And I think it's okay that, if we kind of understand when he says education, that's what he's speaking to. But what people do is take that clip and try to cast a net and send it to me like a few times. I'm asking, like, why did you send me this? Like, to somehow there's a certain idea that any level of education, any kind of education is anti-liberation. So this is what people are using this for, or that I'm saying this is how we really think. Lots of times we think that if you went to, it's just that simple. You should never go to school. Never. This is how people are utilizing it. Never go to school because you will become a white person.
Right.
But at the same time, like for me, I went to Sojourner Douglas College. I just want to start that off. And that was one of
That's
the
tight.
blackest schools you
Yes,
could ever go to, right?
facts,
And I
facts.
chose to go there specifically because this is a college that came out of the black liberation struggle. And
Facts.
people are like, why are you gonna go there? Because they're black. That's why I went there, black. So I went to a black school, and then I went to some what they say more cosmopolitan type of schools. You know what I mean? After that, and still kick butt up in there. You understand? So what I'm saying is, I agree with your analysis. And I really like how you said that, though. I think that was succinct, and you said I think he's speaking to miseducation. I think he would agree with you.
Ashe, Doc. And so, Doc, before we get out of here, could you show us that data that you were talking about when you said I would? Are you prepared to show? If you're not, I'm good.
No, I'm saying I don't. I have the. I mean, I can show you what I have, right?
Mhm.
And this is. Let me see if I can do it. But this is more. Actually, this is off of my dissertation. But this is more of a PowerPoint presentation. But I won't. Can you see that, Doc?
No, you got to share. So you have to go down and hit the present button. So there's a button that says present.
Okay.
If
Okay.
you go back to the stream where you and I are, there's a
Mhm.
button that has a plus sign in the middle of it.
Yeah.
and it's you hit present, and when you hit present, you have to hit share screen, and once you share screen, then you have three options: Chrome tab, window, or entire screen. I would
Okay.
just so I would choose between Chrome tab, window, or screen, and click on your PowerPoint, and then click share.
Okay. Sharing slides. Um, what I could do, I could just read it just for the sake of time because I think I'm having some issues here, right?
Okay.
I have so in my research, right, and it was a lot. I really measured for a lot, and one of the things we did, we measured for education level, and as it pertains to Black identity attitudes, which we use a model called the cross model of racial identity. And we measured, so we had three measures. Let me just back up a little bit. We had three measures. The one measure was cross racial identity scale. The next scale we had was the aspires scale, which measured spirituality. And we also use a scale that a brother Carter created, a scale on race-based trauma. And we also took demographic data, and some of the results that the demographic data yielded was the following. Um, it says this: education level and Black identity attitude. So that's what we're measuring. Education level as it pertains to Black identity attitudes. This study surveyed individuals from various educational levels, and you can find my dissertation as well on ProQuest
Yes.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the study surveyed individuals from various educational levels, from levels less than high school diploma to a doctoral degree. Education levels significantly and negatively correlated with assimilation attitudes. And I said this and I go on to say, I think this makes sense that while it makes sense that it would correlate or have a negative correlation with let me just say this again. There'll be a negative correlation with assimilation attitudes, and also how we have this fight against Black people and Black history and quote unquote critical race theory being taught in schools. So that was one of my analysis of the data, is that they're trying to keep us less educated, and they're doing it purposely, and because they understand the more education that you have, the less assimilation attitudes you have. So, and this is not just my research that yielded, this is other researchers have also had similar findings. So what I'm saying is, it's not that people don't understand the more education you have, the less likely you are to assimilate. They understand this clearly because the data is out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Doc.
Yes, it's a delay.
Yeah, I didn't hear the last part. Say that one more time.
I said that the research is out there. Is not that the society and the oppressor, or whatever it is, the enemy, whatever we want to call it, doesn't
Right.
understand that that the more education you have, the less likely you to have the less likely you are to have assimilationist attitudes. The more education you have, the less likely you're to have that. All you gotta do is go and talk to some Black people in institutions. Most of Dr. Maat's peers, I can almost guarantee you, are not going to be in there talking about they want to be um, um, uh,
White.
uh, uh, white, or people who they're just American, or or that why do we I'm not Black, or all these type of things. They literally are probably pro-Black, even if it's not your version of being pro-Black.
Facts. Facts. And look, let me share one. Let me show them one of my colleagues. Let me
Hmm.
show them. Like, it's serious. Like, this is, we out here doing work, man. This is serious. Like you said, you know, people propping up damn brother polite. Check this out. This is one of my colleagues. Shout out to Dr. James Holly Jr. He's over at he's faculty at University of Michigan, and he's in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, right?
Hmm.
Let me show you all what his research is. All you got to go to Google. All you got to do is go to Google, type in Dr. James Holly Jr. the conversation. He's fighting. Hold on, look at this. This brother is integrating blackness in engineering education research, centering blackness in
Mhm.
in 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 um engineering education research, right? And so
Mhm.
here's his article. Oh, I thought I was bringing up the actual article. Hold on. That's the conversation. I want to bring up the article. Three ways. The conversation. Three ways. STEM. This is serious. We ain't playing around. We're not
Absolutely.
playing around. Where's his article? It says, it's just bringing this up. I'm looking for the actual article, family. Countering this, inequitable, three ways. Oh, I always quote his article in my papers. But if you look at his research, the conversation, three ways to improve. Hold on, y'all. To improve STEM for Black children. Oh, here it is. Bam. Three ways schools can improve STEM learning for Black students. All right. So he's talking about who works in STEMs. Look at STEM. He's talking about, talking about Black excellence. We need to emphasize social skills. Look at this. Teach with social political awareness. This is a brother that has a PhD, Dr. Ausar. And
Mhm.
this is his work, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
he's combating systemic racism in STEM education by trying to improve, STEM learning for Black students. So he's centering Black consciousness. This brother just wrote a proposal, and give thanks that he included me on his proposal. This brother just wrote a proposal, $800,000 proposal to the National Science Foundation, talking
Mhm.
about or proposing to create a hub that mentors or nurtures Black engineering education researchers who want to center Black consciousness in engineering education research. This is what he's doing with his PhD. So
Mhm.
for folks to think about, for folks to believe that people like him and myself and you, when we get PhDs, we just become Eurocentric. We just become white. What the hell are you doing? They sit back, well, they becoming more. I know the work that you're doing. I see the work that you're doing, Dr. Assar, in the community. So you getting your doctorate, you didn't become Eurocentric and abandon the community and ride off into the sunset and live in the suburbs around white folks. You're right in the heart of the hood, talking about healing. You got healing, community healing circles that take place at the Temple of New African Thought. You created a space where we can come in, where we can read books, where we can do Tai Chi and meditation, right? Spaces where you actually provide therapy, right, for people. A space where we can come in and eat. Shout out to Diaspora and Soul. You have a restaurant there. Shout out to your wife, right, who has a restaurant right there at the Temple of New African Thought, where we can come and get healthy food. We can sit down, we can eat vegan food, chicken, whatever you want to eat, right? Healthy food, vegetables, and all kinds of stuff. So you all didn't get your degree and say, I'm just gonna, go out into the suburbs. You could have, but you didn't. That's not what you did. You got your degree and you stayed right in the community and said, I'm going to use my degree to solve our problems. And that's what it's about, Doc. And so anyway, Doc, do you have any closing words for the listening audience?
Uh, yeah. Thanks for having me on, Doc.
No problem. No problem.
I appreciate the conversation. I think is needed, and I think it's a conversation we should continue. I think because I understand the trauma, right, and I understand some of the trauma comes. Some of this is expected, and this is not to say that one with a. I just want to be clear. This is not to say one who gets an advanced degree is any better, any
Not at all.
smarter, any
Not at all.
smarter, or any more have more skills to even liberate us.
Not at all.
What I am saying is that we spend too much energy uh, making false accusations as if there's people with PhDs or any other level of level of education are significantly above the means as it pertains to being assimilationists and sellouts.
Right.
Um, so what I'm saying is the data is not there for that. In fact, it's the opposite. But what I will say is this, that we need to hold everyone accountable.
That's right.
You understand? I think again, we spend too much time beating up on people we believe, and that's part of the trauma. And I think that, see, I come from a mental health, and my research and my background is about trauma, and I understand, and I'm empathetic about that. So I understand part of the trauma, and I don't, and some of you might disagree with the statement that I'm going to say, but I think part of this idea that the field slave and the house Negro is a part of our trauma. And what I'm saying is, a lot of people thought that the house Negro had a better situation going on, when there's accounts that was even worse because the proximity in some instances. So in that they worked together in issues. Was there sellouts inside? Yes. Were there sellouts on the outside? Yes. So,
Absolutely.
but what I'm saying is, sometimes, so I just want us to really understand that everybody's valuable. You understand? Everybody's valuable. I'm talking about no degree, all degrees, CDs and DVDs and all those type of things. And I agree with the sister when she says that we need to be able to examine one's level of, it was something, being able to apply it, or something like that. But the problem is, we have to learn how to be judges of character. We have to learn a lot of things, but we are not doing good at that, because when people who have been through so much trauma are addicted to shiny things. And what I mean is, and the degree is not that shiny in 2023. It's
Come
one of the
on.
most unshiniest things that, it's one of the most unshiniest things. But
Come
some of
on.
us, but I won't even go there. But the thing is, it's not a very shiny thing as people pretend. Some people want them. I'm just saying that. Some people want them because they feel like they haven't been able to achieve them, but and you don't need to achieve it. You can be totally good with or without it, but we need people on all different levels
Spaces. Yeah.
to help liberate us. And again, as Dr. or Baba Dick Gregory was saying, they are people, as Dr. Maat was saying, they are sellouts, they are assimilations, they are all types of people. But I'm going
Absolutely.
to say it's not just people with PhDs, because we point too much our fingers at them too much. It's comedians. Even Baba Dick Gregory is a comedian. There's actors. But there's people like Sidney Poitier and all types of people, and Baba Dick Gregory who fought for our people.
Come on.
There's preachers that are sellouts. There's preachers who are straight about that liberation. We look for people to point out in I don't care where you go, you're going to find them in the conscious community, in the Christian community. You're going to find charlatans, but you're also in the Christian community, Muslim community, the PhD community, whatever community you go to, you're going to find both people who are about that work and about liberating our people, and you're going to find people who are about just going along to get along, or just deaf and dumb and blind to the idea that we are necessarily oppressed and all those type of things. So we on a spectrum. That's it.
Fire! 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 Fire!
Dr. Ausar, I'm telling you, it's always an honor and a pleasure to speak with you. You know how when you and I talk, like we get, you and I can go when I get to the temple. I said, Doc, I gotta take these mamas to go pick our babies up from the camp, because I just enjoy speaking to you. I enjoy your mind, Baba. I enjoy your mind, Doc. I'm telling you, you have a powerful, beautiful, and a powerful mind, and a beautiful and powerful spirit. And I love what you do for us. I love what you do for our people, and we just appreciate you, Doc. We appreciate all that you have done, and all that you're doing. And it's all, I'm telling you, that's why I always hope when I get up, when I get a chance to see you, I just sit there and just start talking to you, picking your brain. Doc, what do you think about this? What do you think? Because it's just, I'm telling you, and I just want to give you your flowers, right? My mother always said, give people their flowers while you can smell them. Give me my flowers. So I want to give you your flowers, tell you that we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you, Doc, for all that you're doing for the community. And I want to also thank the audience who came tonight, who came and clicked the link. It came on in, because you could have been on another platform tonight, right? You could have clicked and been somewhere else, but you chose to spend about an hour and 20 minutes with Dr. Maat and Dr. Ausar. And so I thank you for your time. I thank you for your viewership. I appreciate it. And I thank you for thumbing up the video. I thank you for sharing the video. All right. And I just thank you. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. And so thank you all for tuning in. Family, my closing words are this. I may not be live tomorrow or through the weekend, but I'm definitely going to be live on October the 3rd. I have The Earth Speaks. He's coming back. Him and another brother. They want to debate it. And the brother told him the only platform that I would debate on is dr.maat.msu. I don't want to come on your platform. I don't want you to come on mine. I want to go on the sister's platform because I think that she would do a good job moderating. And so they want to come on and debate human origins on October the 3rd at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so those two brothers are going to come on, and the title is The Battle for Consciousness. And so they're going to be talking about, the origins of human beings. And so join me, family, on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time back here. Those are my closing words. I want you all to be safe. The weekend is coming up. It's a lot going on in our communities. Go out there, family. Be safe. Watch your surroundings. All right. Have a beautiful Blacktastic weekend, and be sure to tune in on Tuesday. Before you get out of here, make sure you thumb up the video, thumb it up, thumb it up. Also, family, make sure that you share this discussion. Dr. Ausar and I had a beautiful and a powerful discussion tonight about should degrees hold weight in our community? Should they? And I think we did a very good job unpacking. And I agree with Dr. Ausar that we need to continuously have this discussion. We need to continuously have it. It's like the clean glass, dirty glass, and we're going to continue to do it, right? We're going to show you the clean glass, right? You see the dirty glass, you saw the polites, you saw the pharaohs. These are the dirty glasses, and so we want to come on and continue to show you and to promote the clean glass to your family. Also, family, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, I heard that YouTube is unsubscribing people from my YouTube channel, and so people aren't getting notifications, but make sure that you go and you check to see if you're subscribed. And if they did unsubscribe you, make sure that you resubscribe and hit the notification bell so that whenever I go live, you are notified. Doc, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you, Doc.
Likewise. And all
peace
you
and
do.
black.
Yes.
Thank you, Baba. Peace and black power, Doc. I'm telling you, that's a beautiful man right there. I enjoy speaking with him. I'm telling you, that brother, that was the brother family I told you that put me on with Dr. Amos Wilson. In fact, that was the brother, and I actually shared with you with the MELTREK series, Dr. Ausar and the Temple of New African Thought. They were one of the first people to invite me on his platform, the Black Conscious Network. Brought me on to promote the MELTREK film, and then purchased, I think, 10 or 20 copies or something like that, and had me on a show a bunch of times. So all you got to do is just Google, Dr. Maat, Black Conscious Network on YouTube, and you'll see some of the earlier discussions that I had with him. And shout out to Marcus Sankofa. Okay. And so him and we had a really, really good time talking. And so anyway, you can go back and look at some of those earlier discussions. But one of the first brothers to support me and really to put me on with the work of Dr. Amos Wilson. So I always appreciate my brothers, man. I do. My brothers really put me on with a lot of stuff. He put me on with Dr. Amos Wilson. Brother Ankh put me on with Dr. Ben and Dr. John Henry Clark and Baba Tony Browder. He put me on with Asa Hilliard and Jacob Carruthers, in that work. And so I just appreciate my brothers, right? Ausar Imhotep put me on with Theophile Obanga and all of that work. And Ankh also put me on with Sheik Anti-Jope. So I just really appreciate the brothers around me because they fed me. They really, 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 really nurtured me and fed me. And I appreciate those brothers. So anyway, family, we're getting ready to head on out of here. But before we do, family, I want to again, and I read her bio at the beginning of this discussion. And so shout out to Dr. Patricia Newton. Shout out to this warrior, this African-centered psychiatrist who made her transition on September the 27th, 2020. And so salute to her. I'm going to make sure I go downstairs. She's actually one of my honored ancestors, and she's on my ancestor shrine. So I'm going to go downstairs, uncover my shrine. My mother made me cover it up because it's in a common area. But anyway, it's covered in white cloth, and I'm going to uncover it and pour some libation out for her and just meditate on what she taught me, and give thanks for her, give thanks for her life, give thanks for her work. I will always speak her name. Our ancestors said, if you speak my name, I'll live forever. And so as long as I have breath in my body, I will always speak her name. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Oh, also, family, I'm going to play this lyrical libation that I asked brother Amade the Apostle to make around the time that she transitioned. I reached out to him and I said, could you make a song honoring, our ancestors who transitioned? Make sure that you mention Dr. Newton. Could you mention our elders' names? And he did that for me. And I called Baba Nwalimu Baruti and I said, Baba Baruti, can you speak at the beginning about the importance of elders? And so you're going to hear Baba Baruti's voice at the beginning of the song, but I'm going to play that. I think this would be a great outro, this lyrical libation for Dr. Newton and all of our ancestors that who have transitioned. All right. And so I'm going to play it. If you have trouble hearing it, let me know in the chat. But I'm going to go ahead and play it. Here we go.
The elders are our living ancestors. They are our direct connection to the African spirit and way. And we distinguish between the elders and those who are simply old, because menticide has driven some of us into a treasonous arrogance. Those who are truly elders are our seasoned visionaries. They are our proven warrior servant workers. They are those who uncompromisingly speak to what needs to be done, and this is a life of revolutionary sovereignty seeking experience. We hold our vision closer to their hearts because they are us on the horizon of return.
Put your lighters up high, wave them round side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. So through us, they alive. Put your lighters up high, wave them round side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. We gon' celebrate their lives. Yo, I wonder if we seen the elders rise from the grave and they seen us today. What would they say? Envision as you see my words glide from the page. I imagine they would be so ashamed of our ways. We in the same position, maybe because we ain't listened. Do we like the discipline for the tunes they was spitting? Or maybe this was karma because we ain't show them honor. Word to Dr. Ben, we should have held them down stronger. Call it how I see it, maybe that was signs from Jesus. A metaphor on how we gon' treat our own leaders. They came here to teach us and we cheered from the bleachers. And when it's time to ride, we turn our backs when they need us. We pour libations when we form our own nation. I pray we wake up and see the time we was wasting. We even seen Elijah lay the blueprint for black power. Peace to the scholars like Dr. Wilson and Tony Browder. Put your lighters up high, wave them round side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. So through us, they alive. Put your lighters up high, wave them round side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. We gon' celebrate their lives. If you can hear this, throw your fist in the air. We gon' do this for our family that's here. Yo, this is the hour of celebration for black power. To all the soldiers and scholars, giving their flowers. The frontliners like Jabari and the soul vibers. They rep Tubman City, they set the bar higher. And them brothers like KT, the arts degree, they gon' carry on the legacy of Dr. Savior. Peace to risen Islam and Brother Ben. With youth like them, we can end our own suffering. Break the curse of Willie Lynch with Charles S. Finch. Professor Small, take us back to the essence. I pay homage to Carlos Muhammad and Dr. Maya, torchbearers that kept it honest. The light is up high, wave them round side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. So through us, they alive. Put the lighters up high, wave them round side by side. We gon' light up the sky where the ancestors ride. For the nights that we cry, but tonight we take pride, cause the spirit never dies. We gon' celebrate their lives. My energy and my thoughts is like John Clark. Still on this marathon like Farrakhan. I got an army of riders taught by Elijah. It's how we start this evolution. Patricia Newton.
Rest in power, Patricia Newton. We love you. We honor you today and every day. We thank you for being an African-centered psychiatrist focused on healing the mind and the spirit of African people worldwide. We give thanks, all praises to the ancestors, for we are our ancestors and we stand on our shoulders. Throw Ashe in the chat for me, family. Ashe, 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 oh.